Now that we've discussed who participates in the agricultural commodities market, let's focus our attention on risk. Indeed, agricultural commodities come with unique challenges that can impact prices and potential returns. And whether you're trading corn futures or investing in a soybean-related ETF, identifying and understanding some of the major risks to your investment can be critical. In fact, risks from weather, geopolitics, supply chains, leverage, and even market psychology can be crucial to the outcome of your trading strategy. Let's first address price volatility. And with agricultural commodities, prices can be extremely volatile. And this is because they're often affected by factors such as weather events like droughts, floods, hurricanes, tornadoes, or frost that can wipe out entire crops or create sudden shortages. Other common supply chain disruptors that consequently contribute to price volatility are pest infestations and plant diseases. Even seasonal changes or late harvests can influence prices. In fact, all of these factors can cause sudden price swings that can catch traders off guard. For example, between the years 2012 and 2014, coffee prices underwent significant bouts of volatility amid a series of weather events and disease outbreaks. During this time, the fungus-borne disease coffee leaf rust, or CLR, was one of the most significant disruptors to coffee bean harvesting and supply chains in many countries across Central America, including Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador, and Nicaragua, with an estimated loss in yields of anywhere between 15 and 40%, depending on the country. This spurred a rise in global coffee prices, among other adverse effects. However, around 2013, increased production in countries like Brazil and Colombia led to an oversupply in the market and prices fell, only to regain ground as concerns re-emerged in 2014 when a severe drought hit Brazil. In fact, any point along supply chains can face significant risks as commodities must be harvested, stored, transported, and delivered. If a port shuts down, for example, or storage infrastructure is damaged, commodity flow can be interrupted. And this kind of event also affects pricing and can make contracts harder or more expensive to settle. Meanwhile, market participants are also exposed to geopolitical and macroeconomic risks, including trade policies such as tariffs, export bans, or sanctions, any of which can alter global supply and demand overnight. There's also currency risk, where fluctuations can affect the price competitiveness of U.S. commodities overseas, as well as interest rate changes and broader inflationary trends, which can also influence commodities markets, often through shifts in investor behavior and capital flows. Overall, global conflict or political instability in a key producing or importing country can send shockwaves through the market. And here's an example. Let's take a recent rise in the cost of cocoa futures. Around February 2023, the Ivory Coast government became more actively involved in the cocoa markets by restricting several major traders from buying the commodity. This was with an aim to ensure its availability to the country's local firms. As the Ivory Coast is responsible for the world's largest concentration of cocoa, the actions taken by its government generally ignited concerns about potential shortages, as certain major international firms like Cargill were essentially shut out from purchasing any of its supply. Now, it's important to note that if you're trading futures, you're also dealing with leverage, which can amplify both gains and losses. A small move in the wrong direction could result in a margin call, forcing you to deposit more funds or liquidate your position. In fast-moving markets, this can happen very quickly, especially if you're over-leveraged or not using risk management tools like stop-loss orders. This is why understanding your risk tolerance and capital at stake is important. Furthermore, risks may arise out of the prevailing market sentiment, which may be driven by news headlines, social media, or institutional positioning, any of which can lead to irrational price movements. For example, a rumor of a poor Brazilian coffee crop can spike prices even if the facts aren't confirmed. Or speculators piling into wheat or soybeans can cause temporary price bubbles that don't reflect fundamentals. All of this can create risk for anyone holding positions during periods of high speculation or hype. In our next lesson, we'll look at the key government and industry reports that market participants might use to help make their trading and investing decisions.